Picture this: Brock Lesnar, one of the most feared and dominant forces in the history of professional wrestling, being led out of Madison Square Garden in handcuffs, while Omos stood tall in that ring for the second consecutive week, soaking in the cheers of a crowd that has completely fallen in love with the Nigerian giant. That image alone should tell you everything you need to know about where this story is heading, and if you think you have already seen the most shocking moments in this rivalry, I promise you, you have not even scratched the surface yet. Stay right here, because what Lesnar said after that arrest is something that is going to change everything leading into WrestleMania. Madison Square Garden has always been the kind of place where history is made, where legends are born and where careers are defined. But what unfolded inside that building on Monday night was something that nobody in that arena or watching at home had ever witnessed before in the history of WWE. Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate, the man who ended The Undertaker's legendary undefeated streak at WrestleMania, the man who has conquered every single opponent that has ever been placed in front of him, was arrested. Not fined, not suspended, not escorted out by security, but actually placed in handcuffs and removed from the premises by law enforcement. Triple H had absolutely no other option left. The brawl between Lesnar and Omos had escalated to a level that was completely beyond the control of anyone in that building. Security could not contain it. Financial penalties did not slow it down for even a second. The game himself physically stepped between these two giants, and it still was not enough to stop what was happening. So Triple H made the call that nobody ever expected him to make, and now Lesnar is out on bail with something burning inside of him that is far more intense than anything we have seen from him in years. For the past several weeks, Omos has been the undeniable story of Monday Night Raw. He powerbombed Lesnar. He stood on his chest like a man who had just conquered a mountain, and he pointed directly at the WrestleMania sign as if to declare to the entire world that his moment had finally arrived. The Nigerian fans have erupted every single time his name is announced, chanting for him with an energy and passion that shows just how much this man means to an entire nation. And honestly, it has been extraordinary to watch. A 27-year-old former shot put champion who walked into sports entertainment and has somehow found himself standing over the most dangerous man to ever lace up a pair of wrestling boots, not once, but twice. That is a story that deserves to be celebrated. But here is what those fans, and frankly everyone else who is riding this wave of excitement, needs to understand about Brock Lesnar. When you embarrass him, when you make him look vulnerable in front of millions of people, and when you contribute to a situation that ends with him being placed in handcuffs on the most famous stage in the world, he does not move on. He does not let it go. He does not forget a single detail of what happened to him, and he absolutely does not forgive anyone who played a role in putting him in that position. The footage made its way onto the internet late last night, and it spread everywhere within minutes. Brock Lesnar was standing outside the arena, still wearing his ring gear, surrounded by his legal team, and when a reporter stepped forward and asked him for a comment regarding his arrest, he did not respond the way you might expect. He said nothing about the fines. He made no mention of Triple H by name in a way that suggested regret or concern. He simply turned and looked directly into that camera with the kind of cold, expressionless stare that has made championship-caliber athletes tremble in the locker room, and he delivered a message that was as clear and precise as anything he has ever said. He told Omos that standing over him twice does not mean what the Nigerian giant thinks it means. He made it absolutely plain that when they meet at WrestleMania, the goal will not simply be to win the match. The goal will be to break Omos completely. And then he turned his attention to Triple H and told him that having him placed in handcuffs and fined was not a solution to anything. It was a declaration of something personal, and Lesnar intended to treat it exactly that way. The camera physically shook during that moment. Whoever was holding it clearly felt the weight of what they had just captured. That was not a man who was rattled or defeated or humbled by the events of the evening. That was a man who had just been handed the one thing that makes him truly unstoppable, a reason that goes beyond competition, beyond championships, beyond professional obligation. That was a man who now has genuine, burning personal motivation, and that is the most terrifying version of Brock Lesnar that has ever existed. Think about what he did to John Cena at SummerSlam 2014 when the wrestling world thought Cena could not be dismantled like that. Think about what he did to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 when everyone assumed that Streak was untouchable. In both of those moments, Lesnar was doubted. He was underestimated. And in both of those moments, he responded by delivering performances so dominant and so brutal that people are still talking about them years later. Now imagine what happens when you do not just underestimate Brock Lesnar, but when you embarrass him publicly, defeat him twice, and then play a role in having him arrested. The version of Lesnar that shows up at WrestleMania 42 is not the version that anyone in Nigeria or anywhere else on this planet is prepared for. Triple H is now caught in a position that he never wanted to be in. He tried every available tool in his arsenal to manage this situation responsibly. He imposed financial penalties. He stationed security throughout the venue. He physically inserted himself between two of the largest and most physically imposing men in the history of this industry, and none of it mattered. When he finally made the decision to involve law enforcement, he was trying to protect the integrity of his main event, trying to make sure there was still a match to be had at WrestleMania. But Lesnar just sent him a direct message that that decision did not neutralize anything. It amplified everything. Triple H did not defuse a bomb. He may have just handed that bomb a new timer and set it running. So here we are. Brock Lesnar is free. He is furious in a way that goes beyond what we typically see from him. And he is coming for Omos at WrestleMania 42 with a purpose that is no longer just about proving he is the better competitor. It is about revenge, about pride, and about reminding everyone on this earth exactly why they call him the most dangerous man alive. Omos has had his glory. He has earned every bit of the love and adoration that Nigeria and wrestling fans worldwide have poured onto him. But the real test of whether he belongs at the top of this industry begins right now, because surviving a motivated and vengeful Brock Lesnar is a different challenge entirely from anything he has faced before. What do you think is going to happen when these two men finally meet inside that ring at WrestleMania? Does Omos have the tools, the heart, and the durability to survive a beast who has been pushed past his limit? Or are we about to watch Lesnar deliver a reminder to the entire world about who he really is when his back is against the wall? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because I genuinely want to know what you believe is going to happen. And if you want to stay connected to the real story behind what is happening on the road to WrestleMania, not just the surface-level headlines and quick recaps, but the actual truth of what is unfolding week by week, then subscribe to Wrestling Juice, hit that notification bell, and make sure you are here for every single update. Because after everything that happened at Madison Square Garden, after the arrest, after that message, after all of it, this story is nowhere near finished, and I will see you in the next one.